I'm Eve Pierpont for Mixdown, and I'm here with Dani Filth, the Cradle of Filth. Hi, Dani.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Awesome. So, after over 30 years of making music and having cemented your legacy in the metal and music world, what keeps you going as an artist?
Um, very, 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 very strong drugs. No. I, um, well, I think the pandemic was a bit of a reset button for a lot of people, and that certainly um, helped me to. If I was jaded before about my position in life, which I wasn't, but I think maybe every now and then people take things for granted. And I think the COVID lockdown was a firm reminder that, I'm a very lucky individual doing what I do, which is something I love. And it's more of a lifestyle for me because it doesn't just end with the music, it's about everything, uh, theatre, clothing, nature, just everything. It's just everything blends into what I do. Um, yeah, I think the pandemic was a reassurance that I'm on the right life track, and for a little while there, it looked like it may not even happen again. So I think since then, I've been sort of had this renewed fervor, um, a new fire, and yeah, I guess it never ever went away, but it just needed to be rekindled somewhat.
Yeah, definitely. Totally understandable. So to live deliciously is about being alive and living free in the here and now. I'm going with that theme and sonically speaking because the intro is just so fitting for an opening song. Was it specifically made to be the first song on the album, and what was the driving force behind creating a song with that as a central message?
Well, yes, it was um, decided it was going to be the first track on the album. We get a semblance of what we think's going to work where on the album quite early on. It's like a putting a puzzle together. Um, and as once you get like the end song, the beginning song, you can just juggle around and just see how they balance out. I mean, it's an art form in itself. And now that we're on album 14, and that's without EPs and that. I should be well versed in it, but I must admit it's still it's still a bit of a puzzle. Um, but yeah, we knew this was going to be the intro song, and the message behind it really was to start everything with a very positive escapist vibe. The album ends on kind of the bleak note, and the album itself, the title was influenced. Well, it's a line from this song, and the song's called "When Misery Was a Stranger," and it's kind of Dickensian in respect of it's about a bad thing, a cataclysmic event, but because it's written, you know, uh, it's written as verse. You're aware that it's salvageable, that you're just reading about it. The event hasn't occurred. Um, but the rest of the album is very positive. And when I say positive, I mean, if you indulge and enjoy in everything you love and pertain to, then then you should really indulge and embrace everything that life gives you whilst you have the time. It's like setting a life code, um, and that's really it. I thought the album had I think the song has a very sort of rhythmic, uh, chant-like quality. So I thought that if you want to drive a message home, it might be as well be for the greater good rather than singing about dismembering corpses or something, which isn't really that positive and doesn't have a very good impact on many people's lives unless you're a coroner.
Yeah, that
Or
would be true. No, I like that a lot. So the word demagoguery, also the name of the second song on the album, literally means political activity that seeks support by appealing to the desires and prejudices of people or winning them over emotionally rather than using rational argument or morally correct ideas. what insights do you hope listeners gain from this song, and what was the importance of having this idea in your music?
Well, we're not a political band, so I use it in respect of throughout history, going all the way back to when Eve was seduced by the serpent, allegedly. And that's what I'm saying. What the demagoguery really means is it's about fake. Well, God, I hate even going there. Fake news,
Yeah,
uh, fake agendas, misinformation, poisonous speech, hate speech. It's about corruption. It's about goading people into actions. It's very manipulative,
yeah,
and it's prevalent ever so. And when I say prevalent, I mean it's very obvious and visual nowadays. It's like what was the film with John Carpenter? They live with all the subliminal messages everywhere that he can only see because he's got these special glasses on. Well, the subliminal messages are literally emblazoned now for all to see, and we really don't give a fuck about it. Um, and obviously, what with the current state of affairs with talking of states, Israel and Palestine and Russia and Ukraine and God knows what North Korea are up to. And now you've got the inauguration of Donald Trump and him proving a point. I think you're only going to see more of this kind of thing. Um, but in the context of the song, it's used as a metaphor for, for um, for like a dark, creeping malevolence, given a fairy tale-esque edge, which all the lyrics have, because I never really pertain to modernity. I don't really sing about sports cars and you know, uh, phones or tablets and skyscrapers and that sort of thing. So henceforth, why there's a lot of symbolism in lyricism that pertains to, let's say, biblical agendas, biblical times, um, greater greater eons prior to ours.
totally. Yes, no, I can see that in your lyrics and just the way you speak. You're very intelligent and like just you get your message out there in a very important way for your lyrics. I think it's rather impressive. So going off that with that song, how did you blend the rather opposing aspects of it so beautifully together?
The what aspects of it? So
Like the music of it, it's just it's so like opposing, like there's so many opposing elements in the song, if that makes sense. Like you
well,
know,
I listen to a lot of soundtracks.
okay, because it's so masterfully put together in a way that not many people could do.
Well, I just think we're a cinematic band. We
Mhm.
paint pictures. You could say we cook with music.
I like that. I like that a lot. I love that.
um, and yeah, I just think the songs are built like in that style. We've been doing that for a long while, and we've got fresh blood in the band, and I think that they help contribute to that sound as well because as newcomers and fans of the band prior to that, suddenly being put into a situation where they're free to write, I think they wrote what we wanted them to write, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Um, and we've been playing so many shows post pandemic that they couldn't help but garner what the band's about from the amount of tracks we play from right across our back catalogue. So I think we've always been well versed in writing slightly longer songs, and they meander as well as I'm doing when we're talking at the moment. So there's with like some very long orchestral middle eights that build. There's a lot of builds up, a lot of tension,
Yes.
and builds up to that tension and release and energy. And yeah, it's just like I say, you're trying to paint a picture, um, and you've got to have ebb and flow and strong chorus, etc. So we just try best what we're given.
Awesome. Yes, there is a lot of tension and release in your music. And I actually have a question later on that actually references that. So that's funny that you said that. So the album blends aspects of many of your previous albums together very well, creating a sound that stays true to the band, but also making it something like different and fresh. How do you think you have accomplished that? Because that can be a tricky thing to do.
Um, just having one eye on the future and one eye on um, what we've achieved in the past and what we've done, and not to stray too far from the path for the fans, but also delivering them something new. So it's always a balancing act. But if you're really into it and it's a lifestyle, then you just live it and nothing's really fake. It'd be so easy to write an album that was contrived because you just had a wish list and a checklist. You just went, oh, okay, yeah, no, we need one of these, and that's not us. So we kind of write from the heart. I think the album's got amazing production, courtesy of Scott Atkins, who we've worked with on numerable occasions, and we feel comfortable with him, and he's always pushing us. And I think the fans have him to thank as well for the sheer audacity of the record, the production values, the writing. Um, we dispensed with the idea of delivering special edition tracks. We just wanted to give the audience, our target audience, everything that we wanted to do. We didn't want to be goaded into doing remixes for bloody Timbuktu or, special edition tracks for solely Australia. Um, no, we just literally delivered nine very catchy, which was a modus operandi anyway, was to write a very catchy record despite being an extreme metal band
Yeah,
by any means necessary.
yeah, I think you did that and you delivered it very, very well. So, and that's important when you feel comfortable with the producer and mixer and you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's he's a very good friend of ours, and he's one of those people that doesn't mix his words. So if you're underperforming or you've written a part, I mean, it was one song on this record that we dispensed with because it wasn't going anywhere, and I was defending it. I felt like it could go somewhere, and I quite frankly written some really cracking lyrics for it, but I took him at his word, and in hindsight it was a B side, and you don't want an album with B sides on. You want an album full of A sides. So I agree with him, and it was tough love, but I can live with it. I'm a big boy.
Yes, and it is important to have somebody that will tell you that kind of stuff, even when you don't want to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So, I admire the fact that I saw in one thing that I was sent that you've mentioned how fans of a band with a strong identity want to hear echoes of the past in a band's record. I can't tell you the number of times I've been disappointed by an album that went off on a tangent musically. How did that come to be something that you believe in?
I guess from that very thing,
Yeah.
being a big fan of bands, and then you know, really, really looking forward to the next. I'm not going to name people, but immediately there's about three bands jump hideously to mind,
Hmm.
and you just get a bit disappointed with it. And if seeing as we're in the same field of expertise, we're a band as well. You take note of that sort of thing, and yeah, it would be frustrating. And I think we've traveled that path lightly in a few times during our career, just touched upon it, and it was noticeable the fans' dismay. Um, and I think if you've got a strong identity, which I'm led to believe we have as a band and forged an identity over the years,
Definitely.
um, then I don't think there's any harm in a bit of self-plagiarism. I mean, it never hurt the likes of AC/DC, did it? I
No.
mean, and there's a few bands that I absolutely love, like Bad Religion, for example, that if Bad Religion didn't release a Bad Religion album and it was, they decided they wanted to be very artsy
Yeah.
and, double the length of their songs and do a bit of jazz fusion, I'd fucking hate it. I really would. I just want Bad Religion doing what Bad Religion do. Um, that being said, um, they have a lot shorter songs. We're kind of renowned for having quite flamboyantly long, intricate songs. Um, so I guess we painted ourselves into a corner. It's like the thing with um, conceptual records. we've done 5 concept records during our career. So every not you, but most people, unless you're about to ask, most people are like, so this is a concept record. And I'm like, no, it's not. Where did you get that idea from? Oh, we just assumed it was going to be. We don't assume.
Never, never. Yeah, no, I like that a lot because yeah. It sucks when someone comes out with an album you're so excited for and it's nothing like you're expecting. So non omnis moriar is more melancholic than other songs on the album. Can you tell me about the creative process of that song and your experience writing and recording it since it discusses kind of the idea of reassuring a loved one of your own death, but like meeting them again, in the evermore?
But when this song was in its very infant stages, it wasn't at that different from what it is now, to be honest.
Mhm.
And it was one of the few songs on the album. Well, there's about 3 or 4 of them that actually you immediately knew what it was going to be about. It already painted that picture in my mind um, as to what I was going to base it on. And yeah, the title, "Not All of Me Shall Die," is a sort of a statement to a loved one, a reassuring gesture to
Mhm.
say that, I'm not truly gone. There'll always be a part of me in your heart or in your life, you know, which is kind of creepy, I guess.
No,
Um,
it's kind of beautiful though too.
yeah, and reassuring them that it's not the end, that your love will survive the grave. So yeah, it's a melancholic song, but it's also again uh, a positive message,
Yes,
and it
exactly.
talks Avalon, a personal Avalon, the mythical island where King Arthur was supposed to have found his peace, which apparently exists in all of us as a sort of Hyperborean paradise. Um, so beyond the veils of death lies, virtue in a secluded island where you can retreat with your loved ones if you're going to meet them again. And the song's literally about bridging that gap.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's melancholic and dark and gothic and doomy, but there's a real shining light, positive message that um, works its way through it.
Yeah, there is, and it's super impressive that how you can blend and do the two together in such a, I don't know, just your lyrics and the music and your voice and everything. It's so enthralling. The way that White Hellbore was put together is also something special, and a feat that not many artists could pull off, but you made it not only work, but thrive in the space that it is in. How did you accomplish that and go about making sure that such contrasting sounds in a song flow together so well?
I don't know. I think that was it. It was the fact of trying to marry some strange, because it's got like some black metal, new wave of British heavy metal, and then it's like full out sort of gothic rock chorus. Um, yeah, it's just a weird juxtaposition, but then we like juxtapositions, marriage of extremes, sex and death. Um, so this, I think, it wouldn't work for Cradle of Filth to do this on every track, and
Mhm.
indeed, songs didn't suggest that anyway. But this sort of call and response, which I guess is more like a duet with our singer Zoe. If we did it every song, it really would be, very contrived. But I think it really works here, and I think the fact that it comes out of very distinctly different atmospheres just makes it a bit more surprising. And I don't know, I like the song. It's probably I mean, it's got about 8 riffs in it, but it's probably the simplest, most straightforward song on the record, and obviously the subject of our latest video, in which I always do. I like I don't. People read the lyrics, and they may have a strong message, a very decided message, or they may be a little bit more vague and up for interpretation. But either way, I like the directors to have their own interpretation of it as I did with the artist who did all the artwork for the album as well. So with this video, White Hellebore, um, the director decided that he would love, and we kind of discussed this and bounced some ideas off about this Hollywood starlet who, you know, was kind of infamous for, I don't know, being a wild child or whatever, dead on the mortuary slab. And there's a kind of questionable moment with the assistant there where, you know, he starts peeling his clothes off and you're like, have I put the wrong video on here, or are they really going to go that way? But then you realize he's sort of in love with this woman, and he finds these marks on her which he's confused about. And it kind of leads you to the leads to the thought that maybe she's sold her soul in some way for this wealth and power and fame and fortune. And indeed, yeah, she's done some kind of Lovecraftian deal with the devil or some untoward forces, and comes back from the dead using his life force. So, yeah, I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Go
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. No, exactly. That's awesome. So there is a indescribable kind of tension that can be felt in malignant perfection, one that's also met with moments of releases and back to tension, and it kind of creates an emotional journey throughout the song, which kind of I feel like matches the title, Malignant Perfection. Um, where did the idea for this song come from? And just kind of the title and the lyrics and everything that goes into it with the reference of, you know, All Hallows Eve, and yeah, just kind of a very, very autumn song, Halloween song, I feel like can be felt in it.
Well, we dragged the release forward by about 3 or 4 weeks. I really had to badger the record company for that because when the song was, again, when I first heard it, had that autumnal vibe,
Yes.
totally gothy, sort of drop down, which we expanded upon as well. We were like, yeah, we should expand upon that, have a bit more um, of a vacuous momentum going, so it's vast, and then it, you know, then we can build up on it. And it sounds big, the less, you know, using the mandate that less is more. But yeah, it instantly suggested the subject matter, and I wanted it to come out for the celebration of All Hallows Eve, Samhain, whatever, um, because it, you know, it just was to be a fine chance missed. Um, a song about All Hallows Eve coming out at Christmas or even at Easter, just really, you'd be like, you're missing the point here. So we dragged the release forward a bit to incorporate that. I was hoping I would get on like Halloween playlists. I've got Halloween
I
playlists,
was just gonna say it would be like the perfect song for a Halloween playlist.
and I just I thought, why, if we're going to embrace this ideology, we might as well embrace it fully and then integrate that into the video as well. And I think Um, whereas the other two videos, To Live Deliciously and White Hellebore, are observations and and interpretations. I was getting misinterpretations, interpretations of lyricism. I think the video for Malignant Perfection is probably a mirror of the lyricism, um,
Totally.
in various in a various form, in various forms and guises. Is not exactly the same, but it is indeed about the personification of All Hallows Eve as a deity, as an autumnal witch figure. Um, and yeah, the video was to say the least, expensive because we wanted it to be a celebration and wanted people to watch it and go, oh my God, yeah, this is great. This really gives me goosebumps, gives you the vibe. And like I said about escapism, when I first got into heavy metal when I was at the tender age of 13, um, I that was the first thing that really got me was the artwork, the music, and if there were lyrics, because sometimes the imports just didn't even have a lyric sheet, which point I'd make the lyrics up in my mind, which would then color the story even more in my favor. I just thought the marriage of all those things was just totally escapism, and I would, you know, I'd be at school or I'd be working, and my mind would wander to these scenarios that these albums painted, and I'd lose myself in that. And hasn't done me any harm. Um, and I've never had a proper job since. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do with this song. I just, well, the album in general, to be honest. Uh,
Hmm.
this is just a microcosm or macrocosm of the greater picture. And yeah, it's all about escapism and being totally absorbed by it. And what better way than to introduce that than something that everybody can relate to? Great big witches' Sabbath.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's awesome. Um, so, anything you can tell us about maybe the collaboration song with Ed Sheeran when that may be released, or if there are any other future collaborations in the works?
Well, we have this big thing with a big fashion company, Vetements. We're doing a capsule with them. They did a trial. They did some mismatch designs of ours turned into fashion accessories and what have you, which they debuted in Paris last year. And you know, fashion buyers and fashion goers loved it, and so they've decided to work with us. In a bit more of a professional context, which is exciting. And
That's
I think
cool.
it's out of the sort of bounds of what is expected of bands, and we'll probably be called sellouts because it. But I don't give a flying fuck, honestly, to be on with people who can't see the potential in things. Um, what was the question again?
Um,
Oh
that's okay. The collaboration song with Ed
yeah,
Sheeran.
sorry, yeah, okay, well, that was describing that. The Ed Sheeran thing, obviously, we're not going to bring it out while the album's sort of in orbit because, well,
Yeah,
it's going to overshadow you.
totally. That's what I
Yeah.
figured
And
too.
also, I think he has a sort of blast radius coming around soon, which I only can presume is a new album. So when there's a bit of clean air and we can release it safely without any sort of repercussions or overshadowing, because I know his management would not put up with it, and you would,
Yeah, I could see that too.
Um, so yeah, it's all good. It's recorded. It sounds amazing. It sounds amazing,
I
and it
cannot wait.
yeah, and it's it's a collaboration. So it does sound like Ed Sheeran, and it does sound like Cradle of Filth, and it's not a comedy song. It's very deep, um, and yeah, it's timeless. So unless another band of our ilk, gets together with Megan the Stallion and literally does something of a similar vein, which I doubt it. And it doesn't matter, even if it did. I think it's still going to be very original when people get to hear it, even if it's like a year from now, which, in all probability could well be.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Definitely don't want it to be overshadowed and because yeah, I cannot wait. It's gonna be so I can tell it's gonna be good. It's gonna be I don't know. I just cannot wait to hear it. Your two voices are just so, you know, I don't want
Different.
to say opposite in a bad way, but like, because I could see it going together so well in such a unique way that I feel like when the song comes out, people are just going to be blown away, honestly.
I
Um,
hope so.
yeah, so you have an upcoming tour, Chaos and Carnage, with Dying Fetus and numerous other bands. What are you looking forward to the most when it comes to that tour?
I wanted to change the meet and greet because I wanted to change it to dying to meet us. I think
Oh, that's good.
they missed a trick with that one. Well, no, I'm just looking forward to coming back to America again. We always have a great time when we tour America. We it's like a tour of Walmarts with some gigs sprinkled in between.
That's so
No,
funny.
it's a really good lineup as well. 7 bands, and you know what? Test my memory. I'm going to remember them all right now.
Good.
Undeaf, Corpse Pile, Vomit Forth, Nay Obliviscaris, Fresh Cod of Potter Chips. No, Flesh God Apocalypse, Cradle of Filth, Dying Fetus. Yes. Very
Impressive.
looking forward to coming and playing that. And then we do some 5 headline shows at the end as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was seeing I'm in Florida now, but your last stop, I think I lived in Colorado for a bit, was Fillmore in Denver. That's a really cool
Yeah, yeah.
place. Yeah, that'll be.
Venue.
What'd you say?
Cool venue.
Yes, it is such a cool venue. When I saw that, I was like, oh, that's gonna be such a great concert just because of the venue and you guys, of course. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time.
My
I
pleasure.
really appreciate it. And yeah, have a great rest of your day. And yeah, the album was amazing. And your voice, I've always never been able to get over your voice, but like really sitting there to listen to it as like, as intensely as to interview somebody, the creator of it. It's just like your lyrics and everything is so well thought out. It's just super impressive. It's just not every artist does that, and it's maybe probably why you guys are so, who you are and have been around for so long.
Thank you. Well, that's just not falling under a bus. I don't know if that's got anything to do with music.
No, no, no. Give yourself some more credit.
Anyway, thank you for the interview.
Of
Uh,
course, no, thank you for your time.
okay, cool. All right, we'll take it easy.
Yes,
Have a good rest of the day.
yes, you too. Thank you.
Right, cheerio. Bye.
Bye.